You're standing in a snowy landscape. Hills roll away from you, covered in a perfectly smooth layer of snow. Everything is perfectly still, as if you are the only living creature in this country. Nothing moves on the snowy hills, not even a hare or a squirrel. Beyond the vast plain of unblemished snow, there is a forest of pine trees stretching for miles until it reaches distant valleys and mighty snow-capped mountains. The pine trees are draped in snow, their branches bowing under the weight of it. Every breath you take is crisp and cold, filling your lungs with the clean scent of pine. As you watch, a breeze stirs, sweeping over the snow, raising tiny mists and stirring the icy branches of the trees. As the branches sway, the ice hanging from the branches chime like bells. Everything is different in this world. The sunlight is clearer. The air is sweeter. It is alive with possibility. The clothes that you were wearing in your world have gone. You're now dressed in well-worn traveling clothes. You flex your toes in sturdy fur-lined boots. You wear a thick fur coat, making you feel snug and warm. There is a pack at your back. It was firm and heavy at the start of your journey. Now it is light, your provisions almost gone. You look behind you at the tracks of your path through the snow. Your tracks emerge from the edge of the forest, not far away. You have spent many weeks of adventure on the trail, uncovering the ruins of long-lost cities. You have much to record in your journals and much to talk about. There will be people tonight who know of such things. You're eager to discuss what you have found and to hear their insights. You look away from the forest over the smooth white hills to the distant shape of a building, half a league away. That is your destination for this evening, the Storybook Inn. You are looking forward to your destination. You've been alone too long. You set off across the hills, your boots stepping lightly in the powder-dry snow. You can hear birds call in the trees. Your eyes lift to the far distant mountain ranges beyond the inn. The sun is dipping below their peaks. The furthest mountains shine brightly, the slopes below them softening to shades of purple, each layer a deeper shade than the last. Closer to you, the air is hazy and golden above the silver ground. Tiny motes of snow sparkle in the last rays of sunlight. You enjoy the serenity of the landscape. You enjoy the warmth and gentle ache of your muscles as you embark on this final stage of your journey. Your aches speak to you of a healthy body, well used these last few days. As the sun sets and the golden glow fades, you look up. The sky is velvet. A vast swathe of white stars streams across the sky, a heavenly river carrying diamonds in its foaming wake. You watch the river of stars for a while, leaning on your staff. The evening sky makes you feel small, insignificant. For some reason, that heartens you. You're just a speck in a vast and beautiful cosmos. You look down and notice tiny white flowers sparkling in the snow. They are five-pointed and seem to glow with an inner light, mirroring the stars above you. You reach down and pick a handful of them, rolling them around in your fingers to release their fragrance. They smell sweet and refreshing. As you breathe them in, a little of the weariness of your journey lifts from you. You take a few more breaths, holding the scent inside you, letting it seep into every part of you. Then you release your breath, your weariness passing away. You pick more flowers and stow them in one of the many pockets of your jacket. You recognize the magic in these flowers. They will be useful in your future journeys, and you're glad to have them. When you are done, you resume your journey. Below you, at the base of the valley, you catch occasional glimpses of a frozen river. The water is fed by the far distant mountains, but the waterfalls and rivulets are just pillars of ice now. Twilight is now upon you. The air is growing even colder, but you are warm from your exertions. Presently, you reach the base of the hill on which the inn is situated. The Storybook Inn is made from pale stone, cut straight and smooth, with little round towers topped with conical roofs. There are crenellated walkways on the lower walls, offering protected views down the hills. Coloured lanterns have been strung everywhere, giving the inn a merry, festive appearance. The building is old and once served a different purpose before it became an inn. Whoever built the tower, they were clearly skilled in their art, but their identity is now lost in time. The building has been an inn for as long as anyone can remember. Warm lantern light glows through the many-paned windows of the Storybook Inn. You can hear faint but merry noises of people talking within. There is music. You suddenly realize what night this is. It is the night before Christmas. You feel a warm glow of anticipation as you press on. The gates to the inn lie open, revealing an inner courtyard. Within the courtyard, you see a tinkling fountain surrounded by orange trees. Remarkably, the courtyard is untouched by snow. The trees are heavy with oranges. They are large and ripe, seeming to glow, filling the air with their fragrance. You wonder at what horticultural arts have allowed orange trees to grow here, in this freezing climate, and with such abundance. But there are many mysteries in this land, and the growing of orange trees within the courtyard of the Storybook Inn is the least of them. You step into the courtyard. There are buildings on three sides, each with many windows. You can see movement within some of them. Soft music and the gentle murmur of voices drift down to you, but here, in the courtyard, you are alone. The door to the inn has been decorated with a large wreath of silver branches, golden leaves, and tiny red berries. The door opens, emitting a cheery glow and the bustling sounds of people eating and drinking. A man ambles down the steps. He is old, but fit, with a wiry build and dark skin. He is wearing a simple white linen shirt and brown woolen pants under a well-worn leather apron. He smiles and greets you by name.
Welcome. We have been expecting you.
You smile in return. You know him, though it has been a long while since you were in these parts. His name is Bernard. He is the proprietor of the Storybook Inn. Bernard clasps you warmly by the hand and takes your pack from you.
Let me take your pack. No, it is no trouble at all. Come inside.
You enter the common room of the inn. The common room is enormous. Walls and fluted pillars soar 30 feet to arched ceilings. The ceilings are brightly painted and adorned with vines and flowers carved from stone. There are warm tapestries on the walls depicting legends of this world. At the end of the room are large windows, stretching the full height of the walls, supported by a delicate latticework of stone. You can see mountain ranges through the windows, dark shadows against the starry sky. In the exact centre of the room is a four-sided fireplace, a broad stone chimney tapering above it. Long tables have been drawn up on all sides of the fireplace, where several people are taking their evening meals. There are fireplaces in the far corners of the room as well, where comfortable armchairs and sofas, occasional tables and racks of books have been placed. A handful of guests sit here and there, engaged in reading, discussion, or quiet contemplation. What is most striking to you, however, are the Christmas trees. There are many of them, of all different sizes. Some are huge, 20 feet or so in height, and some more modest, barely up to your chest. They are arranged all around the room. Each of them is decorated with a dazzling array of ornaments of gold, silver and glass, and lavishly threaded with ribbons of many colours. Many of the ornaments are clearly magical in nature. Little mechanical birds that flap their wings and trill prettily, glass orbs that glow with coloured lights, silver angels that play harps and flutes, and little teacups, balanced on branches, steaming with tea, coffee and chocolate. One of the trees even has a constellation of golden lights orbiting it. On each tree is a star, glowing with a warm light that fills you with hope, optimism, the sense of belonging, and peace. You sigh as you drink in the sight of Christmas. The sweet scent of pine, tangy and fresh and redolent of hope and renewal fills the air. There is a group of musicians near the great four-sided fireplace. The musicians are playing a lively tune that has everyone around them tapping their feet and cheering. You stop and listen too.
Snowflakes swirl in the midnight air. Brass bands play like they don't care. Electric beats pulse through the night. Folk tunes mix in an audio delight. Granny's old tales of Yuletide cheer now clashing with the DJ snare. Sleigh bells sync with the vinyl spin. Let the Balkan swing begin. Dance around the Christmas tree. Swing your hips so wild and free. Feel the beat, don't miss a step. Electro sleigh ride on we crept.
Bernard has put on a feast for his guests. You can see whole roasted trout and fresh beans. There are bowls of green grapes and oranges. There are new potatoes, some baked whole, and some sliced and baked with cheese and cream. There is water in ceramic jugs, no doubt drawn from the icy river that you saw earlier, crisper and sweeter than the finest wine. There are golden loaves of bread, still steaming, new butter and honeycombs. There are all manner of other delicacies, simple but tasty. The people at the table closest to you look over and smile. You know them. There is Grisling, a dwarf with a long beard, a frame as sturdy and wide as an oak barrel, and a brave heart. Then there is Quill, a slight man with dark eyes and dark hair of an indeterminate age. Quill is as quick with his wit as he is with his bow. He's dressed in a white lace shirt and a black velvet suit. He's casually juggling 3 grapes with one hand, with such assurance that he's able to look away and give you a smile without breaking his rhythm. There is Celine, a young woman with auburn hair falling long around her shoulders, and a smattering of freckles. Celine wears a padded jacket of dark green and blue, traced with fine gold lines that seem to shimmer as she moves. You have met her only once before, and know little of her, except that she's a magician of some ability. Where she comes from, and for what purpose she travels these lands are, however, a mystery. Indeed, part of her art seems to be the ability to deftly evade direct questions about those very matters. Bernard waves back at the little dinner party, but guides you away from them towards a little nook in a corner.
The other guests will be here for at least a week. They are planning an expedition, which they will no doubt tell you about. Perhaps they may even give you the opportunity to join their adventure, if you wish. But for now, you need food and a hot drink. Meeting with your fellow travelers will be all the more enjoyable once your immediate needs have been attended to.
You think that Bernard might be a little overzealous in his care for you. But then again, he's been innkeeper for a long time and has seen countless travellers. Perhaps he knows what you need better than you do yourself. So you're content to let him lead you to the nook. You see other guests as you cross the common room. There is a little band of halflings. They have curly hair, coloured waistcoats, and bare feet, also liberally covered in hair. They cheer and raise their mugs of foaming beer as you pass. You see a group of snow elves, their hair dark as night, their skin white as snow, and their eyes ancient and knowing. They are dressed in furs and gossamer thin chainmail. They are quietly talking, but they look up and give you a respectful nod as you pass. The snow elves are strange and beautiful, and can be quite dangerous, but they recognize you as one who is also wise and powerful, and give you the respect that you are due.
Here we are. Please, make yourself comfortable.
The nook is closed in on two sides by walls, and lined with shelves on which there are books and curiosities from ancient lands. There is a fur rug on the floor, and a small table near a huge window. A small fire completes the scene. Although the nook is open on one side to the rest of the common room, it is quiet and private. If you were to pull up a chair to the fire, you would be hidden from view. It's perfect.
Have a seat. Feel free to take your boots off and stretch your feet in front of the fire. Your coat can go on that hook over there. I will be back very soon with your supper.
You do as Bernard suggests. You take off your heavy coat, kick off your boots, and settle back into the comfortable armchair by the fire. Soon the warmth of the fire suffuses you. There's a faint rattle at the window. You look up to see snow swirling against the thick glass. You shiver and sit closer to the fire. A snowstorm is coming. Bernard arrives back with one of his sons, a strapping lad with a broad smile. They are each bearing a huge platter of food and drink. In a moment, they assemble your meal. There is bread and butter, rounds of cheese, cold cuts of meat and sausage, a whole cauliflower, spiced and baked until it is crispy, a tureen of beans, and a whole trout. For dessert, there is an apple pie. There are silver pots containing tea and hot chocolate, kept warm by the magic of elvish runes engraved into the metal.
Enjoy, and take your time over your supper. We will be up all night preparing for tomorrow's festivities, so someone will always be ready to attend to you. Sleep here if you like, but know that your room is upstairs and waiting for you, if you prefer.
You thank Bernard and his son, and then set to your dinner. You are ravenous. You have some bread and cheese, and then make a start on the fish and vegetables. The food is delicious. Soon, you're having a lively little dinner party for one. After a while, your immediate hunger sated, you can eat at a more leisurely pace. It is then that you notice a gnome standing at the entrance to your nook. He looks old, but then again most gnomes look wizened and ancient. They are a very long-lived race. He is dressed in a faded and stained magician's robes, a pointed hat, and has thick spectacles balanced on top of his enormous bulbous nose.
Good evening to you. I could not help but notice that you have just arrived. The talk is that you have spent several weeks traversing the Forbidden Forests and have seen Vanir ruins during your journey.
You say that what he has heard is true.
My name is Bilius. Bilius Barnflum to be exact. But I am Bill to my friends. It would please me if you were to consider me a friend.
You say that it would be an honor to be his friend.
Excellent, excellent. Would you mind if I sat and we spoke of your travels?
Without waiting for an answer, the little gnome enters your nook, pulls up a seat, and pours himself a cup of hot chocolate. He sighs happily.
Most excellent. What a wonderful host Bernard is. And what luck that we've been thrown together on this snowy Christmas night to talk of mysterious and magical things.
You smile, feeling grateful to have the company of this well-meaning and amusing gnome. You tell Bill of your travels, the state of the roads, the ruins that you have seen, and the travellers that you have come across these past few weeks. Bill tells you of his own travels and of the people that he has met. Some of them you know. Others you may come to know. You discuss the ruins that you have seen. Bill tells you what he knows of the ancient people who built the cities.
It would be more correct to say that they grew the cities, or shaped them. They were not builders, you see. The Vanir, they are called. They are more ancient even than the elves. We know little of the Vanir, but scholars think that they were intrinsically magical. They think that the Vanir were imbued with the magic that first created the world. They could shape earth and stone, persuading it to shape itself into different forms by the sheer force of their will. As to what the Vanir were like, they were not human, or even gnomish, in their ways of thinking. The Vanir are alien even to the elves. Some might say they were quite childlike, because they did not reason as we do, and did not read or write, though their memories are exceptional and long. But they had a civilization and laws of a kind. Indeed, their laws were far more binding on them than we could ever understand. Their laws were part of their very being, so much so that the Vanir could not break a promise once they had given it, any more than we can defy the laws of physics by falling upwards. It was simply not possible for them. But their laws did not follow any kind of moral code, or at least none that we can recognize. The Vanir were exceptionally savage. In form, they were terrifying too. Tall, the height of 2 men, pale-skinned and silver-haired. They had hideous strength and endurance. Some even say that they were cold-blooded. Their power also lay in their magic. For example, they could sense things in the wind and had the capacity to control the weather. They could shape air to make themselves invisible. It is perhaps a good thing that the Vanir are gone from our world. Where these powerful creatures went, and what could have driven them away, we do not know. I would not want to meet one, but they are fascinating nonetheless.
You talk over this fascinating topic for a while. The snowstorm grows in fury. Bill pours you some tea. After a while, you become very comfortable talking to this friendly and open gnome. He's funny, to be sure, but there is a quiet wisdom beneath his quirky ways. You discuss some topics that have been worrying you. These are the things that you have been turning over in your mind, in your own world. Things that you have been ruminating on without being able to find a solution. Here in this peaceful place, your problems have a dreamlike quality, for they have no weight here. But nevertheless, you feel a need to share your burden, and you decide to trust Bill to provide wise counsel. Bill listens patiently, occasionally asking some questions, but letting you set out your worries. At last he smiles and leans forward.
What if the things that you think are a problem are not actually a problem?
You do not respond, but you ponder this a while. When you look back to him, Bill is looking into the fire. For a moment, you see something in his face and wonder what has brought him to this lonely place, far from his own gnomish home.
Whatever you are facing, who knows what will come of it? Good or bad? Who can say? There are so many ways that problems can be resolved, and so many things that may flow from whatever you do, that you can never predict what will come of those problems. Indeed, what you believe is a problem may in fact be a stroke of good fortune in the end.
Bill warms to his theme.
What I advise you to do, therefore, is to not be fearful before this catastrophe comes. The catastrophe may never happen. Even bad luck is, in the end, a matter of luck. The worst may never happen. Or, if it does happen, it may be the key to good fortune that you would never have arrived at had you lived a quiet and safer life. Who knows? All that you know is that the crisis is certainly not upon you just yet. So, what should you do? My advice is this. Do not think about what may or may not happen. Do not rush out to meet a catastrophe that is not yet upon you and may never be upon you. Life is not worth living, and there is no limit to our sorrows if we indulge our fears to the greatest possible extent. What will you gain by not being fearful before this supposedly evil event comes? Time. Think on your life so far. Think on all the wasted time that you have spent, fearing things that did not come to pass, or when they did, were not as bad as you feared. How much richer would your life have been if you had spent that time instead living life to the fullest? What could you have achieved if you had been free from the fantasies in your own head? Learn from that. Live your life now and let the future come as it will, knowing that you will deal with whatever arises when and if the time comes.
You reflect on this advice for a while, staring into the fire. You feel comforted by the presence of Bill. His wisdom is timeless, and you feel has been hard-earned. You can trust him. Bill speaks again.
These ruminations are a product of your own mind. They are just thoughts. They do not have to have any significance to you. You are not your thoughts. You are free anytime you wish to be free.
He reaches into his robes and pulls out a small piece of paper and pencil. He sets the paper down on the table and writes carefully upon it.
Take each moment as it arises. Do what must be done in each moment. The future will take care of itself in ways that will surprise you. However, if you need some guidance as to what to do in each moment, may I suggest these steps?
You take the paper from him and read it. The list is not long. There are only a few items on it. They are simple actions, easily achieved. Your heart lifts as you read it. You feel your doubts resolved. Now, at least, you know what to do. Whatever will come of those actions, you do not know, but you know what to do. You feel grateful and tell Bill as much. He smiles.
You will be all right.
You both sit back, relaxing by the fire, as the snowstorm pummels the inn. You feel as if a burden has lifted from you as you ponder on what Bill has said. He is right. It is pointless to worry about the future. Who knows what will happen? No amount of worrying ever changed anything. All it does is to waste the present moment, which is the only place you can actually live. Here, right now, you are safe. You are well cared for. You are valued. You have friends. You have a plan. Tomorrow is Christmas, where there will be more good food, companionship, the joy of giving and receiving presents, peace and joy. And in the meantime, you are free. As you and Bill sit in companionable silence, the minstrels begin to play again. You sit back and close your eyes, enjoying the music, the sound of the snowstorm, and being in the company of a good friend.
A very Merry Christmas to you, my friend. I have a very good feeling about this coming year.